In today's economic environment, why are so many speculating on current players? I want to dig into this. Let's talk about it. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. Back again for another sports card video. Hope everybody is doing well today. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you're notified every time new videos come out. A like would help me a lot to spider my videos out to the masses. Always appreciate your help. I had a lot of fun on Hobbypalooza over the weekend. It was yesterday. Bench Clear Media, sports card channel, great channel. Mike and Ty, they allowed me to come on for an hour yesterday. So definitely check that out. That was 24 hours of different content, different live streams. It was either 12 or 24. I don't remember, but it was a lot. It was, I think, 12 hours on Saturday, 12 hours on Sunday. I could be wrong there, but it was also for a cause, for charity. And then they're also doing a big giveaway as well today on their channel. So definitely check out Hobbypalooza over the weekend. That was a lot of fun. Also connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, and I'm also on Twitter, the SportsCardDad. All right, guys, I've been watching a lot of the latest news, a lot of the new product drops, and just getting really, really frustrated with some of the things that I see out there in the world, out there in the market, out there in the industry. And I just had to get it off my chest. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk about this. And on some of these points, I might be beating a dead horse a little bit. It's some stuff that I do talk about, but I feel like it's important to continue talking about, especially for new people that are getting into the hobby, people that are getting back into sports cards, don't really understand the current landscape because it is way different than it was decades ago. And so I think that these types of videos can be important and can be helpful for those that are coming back in. Let me first off start by saying that if you are somebody that has a lot of disposable income, and look, if it's a sports betting thing and you just have, like, if it's no different than throwing the dice in Las Vegas or, you know, doing a slot machine, and that's kind of what your sports card habit is, then that's perfectly fine. Also, if you are just collecting specific cards, you've got just certain sets that you really like, and you don't really have any sort of expectations as far as resale value or value moving forward for these cards. It's more about just, I enjoy opening packs. Maybe you really enjoy opening packs with your young ones, and that makes a lot of sense. I totally get it. And you have the disposable income to do so. I think that's kind of the caveat. But if you are somebody that is really looking to get kind of a return on a lot of this new product as it comes out, are there opportunities? Yes, of course. There's always going to be certain opportunities. There's always going to be people that are able to buy raw, grade it, flip it. There's going to be success stories. But what I'm really concerned about is when we look at the amount of parallels that are being printed and all of the new product that's coming out, even though it's kind of slow rolling because of supply chain issues, what really, really bothered me actually is this new Prism football product coming out. What's different about these types of new releases as when I was a kid back in the 90s is you didn't have these being broken on the internet. There was no internet. You didn't have the illusion that there was some sort of huge, big ticket item in there. Yes, there were certain chase cards. You were chasing after stars, and you were chasing after rookies too. There was great rookie classes that you were chasing after, but the stakes are so much higher now. You know, when I bought a pack of 89 Pro Set Football, it was $1 a pack, 75 cents a pack, and even adjusting for inflation, packs and boxes of cards are way more expensive now. So if you're an average family that's, just trying to enjoy sports cards, and look, if your young ones come to you and are like, hey, I want to get into sports cards, and you're a dad, you're a mom, and you're like, okay, how do I navigate this? And you see the packs and how much the packs cost, the stakes are just so much higher. You've got new players that literally have $1 million cards that are rookies, that are 2-year, 3-year, Josh Allen RPAs are $250,000. You've got Luka Doncic stuff that's huge money. He's got a $4 million sale under his belt. And I love those players. They're great, but the stakes are just so much higher in this stuff. Now, the $4 million cards, those are not being bought by the average folks. They're not being bought by me or anybody else. Those are being bought by kind of the top tier, the 0.001%, the Jeff Bezos collectors of the hobby. And so that's perfectly fine. That doesn't have any sort of effect on me, but it gives the impression that when someone comes in, it's like, oh, wow, sports cards are selling for millions of dollars. So all I have to do is buy these boxes. And then, if I hear a breaker scream and, just go nuts over some random patch card that is completely worthless, or at least will be worthless in a few months, these are not hits. And that, it just bothers me. It bothers me. I almost wish that I could see more of, breakers saying like, hey guys, all right, we're all here. We've all paid in our money. Let's remember it's a 1 out of a 10,000 chance that we're going to hit XYZ card, but let's have some fun doing it. Everyone good with that? Okay, cool. But that's not what the business is, really. That's not what the business is. And even not to just pick on breakers, but just in general, selling singles. There's a lot of BS out there, a lot of narratives and stories behind cards that are completely irrelevant. People make up all sorts of different stories on stuff that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We literally have this one-of-one Logo Man Flawless LeBron card that went for $2.4 million, including the buyer's premium. And the one thing that was big about this card is this is the first time that really kind of a modern card that was just manufactured hype is what this was. The fact that it's so new and it sold for that kind of money, it wasn't organic interest. This was just excitement. It's the big lotto ticket. It's graded authentic, which I don't know if that really helped or hurt or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that there was no organic interest. The Honus Wagner is 100-year-old card. There's organic interest over time. Michael Jordan stuff, you've got some organic interest that was built up over time. This was literally like, company came up with a card and they're like, all right, we need to make it a one-of-one. We're going to pull some cool jerseys, make it semi-cool. I honestly don't think it's even that cool. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. It's a cool card, but man, I thought about making a video of all the things that you could buy with $2 million. I might still make the video, I might not. I know everyone's talking about this card. I just want to kind of move on. I did make one video on it, but this is the first time that it was just kind of like this card was made a year ago, 18 months ago, or they announced it or whatever. And I've seen more memes and different things on this particular card of like, how many people think that, like polls, how many think that this card will next be sold for $200,000 or $400,000, talking about that LeBron Logo Man one-of-one card. I just really hope that people that are just getting back in, don't think that the only way that they have to get in is to buy into a break or buy an expensive box or buy expensive packs or buy overpriced singles. And that's really what you see a lot of. How many Wander Franco rookie cards are out there? How many, Zion stuff, and how many Trevor Lawrence and all the rest of this stuff? I mean, we've gotten to that point. It used to be where you could chase this stuff, and there was parallels, and there was some stuff, but now we've gotten to a point of no returns. And frankly, there's demand for the product. So if you're the manufacturer, it makes sense that you're producing it. And for, if you're Panini, you don't have the licenses in a couple of years, what's your motivation not to print it? And frankly, there's nothing wrong with them doing that. They run a business. They're trying to make profit, and there is demand there. But I think that we can't be disingenuous about, oh, this is a great hit, or this is a great card out of this pack, or this is a great price for this card, when most people know with this new product that in 6 months, a year, these cards will be half price. They'll be 90% off, a lot of them. And this isn't necessarily the war chant of get into vintage, because a lot of people just aren't into vintage. So that's totally fine. I like vintage. I like some of the modern stuff too, but I know what I'm getting into. I've spent some time in the hobby. I got back in 2018, so I've seen some of the peril, some of the things that can go wrong, and I never buy new products coming out unless it's some sort of new product that I'm just excited about for just a collecting purpose. But frankly, that even hasn't happened yet. I'm not that excited to where I've got to go out and buy a hobby box for $1,000 or get into a break to get into that hobby box. And so to each their own. But I hope that if anything, that new people getting back in, like I said, just understand what they're getting into. The stuff is highly, highly speculative. And we've seen a lot of players, even veteran players. Steph Curry is an example, a guy that had an amazing season. He's won a championship. He's the MVP, and he's got a lot of cards that are down this year because of the overall economy. He had stuff that was overheated from the last couple of years. This is a guy that had like the best season the best thing that could have possibly happened to a guy that already has 3 rings, that got his 4th ring. And still not much movement, actually downward movement in a lot of cases. So that's the risk too. You pick, I know I've got John in the chat is going to talk about Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen, but the problem is there's loads of QB talent. And I'm not just picking on Josh Allen. It could be any of these guys, and they could have a great season. And you're assuming that based on that great season, that the cards will rise based on that great season. And a lot of people just we're not seeing seeing that. Those cycles are not happening. Does it happen a little bit? Do we get little bumps here and there? Sure, but a lot of times, is the reward worth the risk getting in? And a lot of times the answer is no in this market. From 2019 or 18 to 2021, the answer may have been yes, depending on the player and the card, but we're in uncharted territory now where we're in kind of a corrective type mode. It's not just cards, it's a lot of different things. It's a lot of things. So it's not just picking on cards, collectibles. I'm still buying cards and collectibles, but it's just we've got to know what we're getting into, and there's not enough of that yet. Not enough of that type of transparency, I think. I hope it's coming, but I'm just not seeing enough of it yet. So hopefully this is helpful to anybody that's just getting in. I would just say that take your time, tread lightly, and really kind of understand the sets and the cards and kind of have an action plan, some sort of a plan. It doesn't have to be a perfect plan. A lot of the learning comes from doing. So a lot of it's just getting in there and doing it. But please know with the new product, the prices will go down unless you hit the monster lottery tickets, which, yes, if you get the Black Finite one of ones and you get lucky with that stuff, then great. But most people won't. Anyway, guys, I hope that you're having an amazing day. Stay healthy, stay awesome. I will talk to you again later.